Bronze Age wasn't just about new heroes. It was full of sidekicks Marvel once pushed as the future. They appeared in major titles, shared covers with legends, and then disappeared. A teenage partner introduced to modernize a classic hero, suddenly written out. A sidekick who carried whole arcs in the 70s, only to vanish without farewell. And a young hero built for popularity who was quietly forgotten. These weren't minor extras. They were sidekicks Marvel abandoned. So which partners were left behind? Here are 10 popular Marvel sidekicks lost to time. At number 10 is Jackdaw, the elven companion of Captain Britain. He made his first appearance in the Incredible Hulk Weekly issue, 57 in 1980, joining Captain Britain and the Black Knight in their battle against Necromon. In that fight, Jackdaw was mortally wounded, but Merlin intervened, reviving him with new powers and a striking costume. From then on, Jackdaw became Captain Britain's sidekick, loyal and fearless, standing by his side on interdimensional missions and serving as both ally and comic relief. Their partnership faced its greatest trial on Earth 238. There, the monstrous fury struck, tearing Jackdaw apart in a brutal death that shocked readers of the time. Merlin, who had once restored him, refused to bring him back again, believing the loss was part of Captain Britain's destiny. Jackdaw never returned to the pages of Marvel's ongoing continuity, and his name slowly faded from the stories. His death remained one of Captain Britain's earliest tragedies, leaving behind a legacy of sacrifice from a sidekick who vanished too soon. At number 9 is Eugene Paul Patilio, the unlikely hero who became known as Frogman. He made his first appearance in Marvel Team-Up issue 121 in 1982. Eugene was the son of Vincent Patilio, the failed inventor who once fought Spider-Man as the villain Leapfrog. Determined to redeem his family's name, Eugene donned the old suit and set out to become a hero. Frogman looked up to Spider-Man and tried to act as his sidekick, though he often crossed paths with the Human Torch and Captain America as well. His idolization of these heroes pushed him into dangerous fights far beyond his ability. In one memorable incident, he accidentally defeated Speed Demon while trying to help Spider-Man and the Human Torch, a moment that inspired him to embrace the title of the Fabulous Frogman. But despite his earnest spirit, his clumsy style and lack of real powers kept him from being taken seriously. By the 2000s, he had faded away, quietly abandoned as Marvel moved on to stronger, more reliable partners. At number 8 is Dennis Dunphy, better known as Demolition Man. He first appeared in The Thing issue 28 in 1985 and later adopted the name D-Man in Captain America issue 328 in 1987. He was a former college football player who never made it to the pros, and in his desperation he turned to the Power Broker for strength enhancements, gaining formidable power at the cost of addiction and debt. Once he uncovered the corruption behind his augmentation, Dunphy allied with Captain America. He became Roger's trusted sidekick when Steve operated as the captain, fighting alongside Falcon and Nomad. His loyalty and strength made him a stalwart companion, and he even made peripheral appearances tied to the Avengers. But through the 1990s, his path darkened. Struggling with mental illness, living as a homeless man, and manipulated by Hydra into becoming Scourge, his story faded. Though later resurrected in obscure tales, his days as Cap's devoted sidekick remain a largely forgotten legacy. At number 7 is Lamar Hoskins, the man who became Battlestar. He first appeared in Captain America issue 323 in November 1986 as one of John Walker's bold urban commandos. A year later, in issue 334, he officially stepped into the role of Bucky before adopting the codename Battlestar in issue 341. Alongside Walker, who had taken over as Captain America, Hoskins underwent Power Broker augmentation that gave him superhuman strength. For a time, the two operated as partners, with Hoskins wielding a triangular adamantium shield and tempering Walker's explosive nature in the field. The name change from Bucky to Battlestar was born after concerns were raised over the racial undertones of calling a black man Bucky, leading Marvel to rebrand him. Though he stood as a loyal ally in the late 1980s, Battlestar slowly faded from Marvel's pages in the following decade, remembered as a sidekick who never fully returned to the spotlight. The next sidekicks reveal how quickly Marvel can turn the page. A loyal partner rebranded for politics, a robot created to replace a legend, and a cartoon duo who faded as fast as they rose. At number 6 is Herbie, the humanoid experimental robot B-type integrated electronics. He first appeared in the new Fantastic Four animated series in 1978, created by writer Stan Lee and artist Dave Cockrum. Since the Human Torch was unavailable for the cartoon due to rights issues, Herbie filled the gap as a new team member. A year later, he crossed into comics in Fantastic Four, issue 209, August 1979, where Mr. Fantastic constructed him to help track Galactus. In both animation and comics, Herbie became a quirky but loyal sidekick. Within Marvel continuity, he often assisted Reed Richards and even looked after Franklin Richards. His most dramatic story came when his body was possessed by the villain Dr. Sun, leading him to sacrifice himself to save the team. Although Reed later rebuilt him, Herbie never regained his earlier prominence. Instead, he faded into the background, resurfacing mainly for upgrades or nostalgia. At number 5 are Firestar and Ms. Lion, the unlikely sidekicks who stood beside Spider-Man. They first appeared in 1981 in the animated series Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Firestar, created as Angelica Jones, was devised to stand in for the Human Torch, who wasn't used for a mix of licensing and safety concerns, while Ms. Lion, Aunt May's fluffy dog, served as the team's mascot. A few years later, Firestar officially entered Marvel continuity in Uncanny X-Men issue 193 in 1985. Together with Spider-Man and Iceman, Firestar formed a college-age trio of heroes. She fought crime while also turning to Spider-Man for guidance, and Ms. Lion often trailed behind, sometimes causing chaos, other times saving the day by accident. Their cartoon popularity gave Firestar her own 4-issue miniseries in 1986, and she later joined the New Warriors and the Avengers. Yet as the years passed, Ms. Lion largely vanished, though he resurfaced occasionally in Pet Avengers stories, and even Firestar often disappeared for long stretches. Though she still appears, their partnership belongs mostly to the past. At number 4 is Kathy Webster, the young hero known as Free Spirit. She made her first appearance in Captain America issue 431 in 1994, created by Mark Gruenwald and Dave Hoover. Kathy began as a graduate student who unknowingly volunteered for a subliminal brainwashing experiment. Exposed to mutagenic radiation, she was transformed into a peak human athlete with extraordinary abilities. Initially conditioned to despise men, she broke free of that programming and aided Captain America against the Serpent Society. Alongside fellow rookie Jack Flag, she joined Cap's Hotline, a network of operatives who tackled threats like Ultimatum and AIM. Her bond with Steve Rogers was that of a trainee with her mentor, eager to prove herself in battle and loyal to his cause. For a brief time she appeared regularly in Captain America, but her prominence quickly faded. Though she resurfaced during Captain America, Steve Rogers in 2016, her role dwindled. Today, Free Spirit remains a forgotten name in Cap's legacy. The final sidekicks show just how fleeting Marvel's spotlight can be. A reckless teen whose gauntlet-powered rise ended as quickly as it began, and a young warrior in alien armor who fought beside the New Warriors, but still faded into obscurity. At number 3 is Sasha Martin, better known as Southpaw. She first appeared in She-Hulk issue 5 in July 2004, created by writer Dan Slott. Sasha was a rebellious teenager whose life changed when she gained control of a massive energy gauntlet that became her signature weapon. As the granddaughter of Holden Holloway, a senior partner at the law firm Goodman, Lieber, Kurtzberg & Holloway, she was placed under Jennifer Walters' care when her behavior spiraled out of control. At first, Sasha clashed bitterly with She-Hulk, lashing out in reckless attempts to prove herself to everyone around her. But over time, she became a reluctant ally. She helped She-Hulk against the U-Foes, and later accompanied her to the planet Skardan, where she played a role in the defeat of the champion of the universe. Their dynamic shifted from adversary to student, with Jennifer teaching Sasha responsibility. Yet after Slott's run ended, Southpaw disappeared from continuity, leaving behind only the memory of a sidekick who vanished too quickly. At number 2 is Jack Harrison, the hero known as Jack Flag. He made his debut in Captain America issue 434 in 1994, when he and his brother Drake operated a citizen's patrol in their Arizona hometown. After criminals attacked his brother and left him paralyzed, Jack trained in martial arts and weightlifting, put on a Stars and Stripes costume, and became Jack Flag. Through Captain America's Hotline, he connected with Steve Rogers and fought alongside him and Free Spirit against Serpent Society, AIM, ULTIM, ATUM, and Madcap. Their bond was one of mentor and trainee, with Cap respecting Jack's courage while guiding his growth. His resilience earned him cult status during Civil War, when he took down much of the Thunderbolts before Bullseye left him paralyzed. He later regained mobility and joined the Guardians of the Galaxy. But in 2016, a Hydra-controlled Captain America threw him from a plane, leaving him comatose. In 2017, he was killed in hospital. Jack Flag has not returned since. At number 1 is Michiko Musashi, the young hero called Turbo. She first appeared in New Warriors issue 28 in October 1992, when she borrowed the torpedo armor from her friend Mike Jeffries to wear at a comic convention. That day, the suit's energy drew hostile attention, and Mickey discovered its power while driving off attackers. From then on, she shared the suit with Mike until her skill made her the true Turbo. Joining the New Warriors, she stood beside heroes like Night Thrasher and Nova, providing energy, heart, and comic relief. She played a key role in the battle against Volks, the dire Wraith Queen, where Mike Jeffries was killed and she nearly lost the armor herself. Turbo went on to co-found the Los Angeles group Excelsior, later known as the Loners, and briefly appeared in Runaways and Avengers Academy. Yet, by the early 2000s, Mickey faded into obscurity, her armor reappearing at times, but her place in Marvel's world quietly forgotten. And that wraps up our list of forgotten Marvel sidekicks, heroes who burned bright but quickly faded from the spotlight. If you enjoyed this journey through Marvel's overlooked allies, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hidden comic history.